Hi, I'm Joey Busuttil and I'm just checking in. Today I wanted to talk about the stories that we tell ourselves. There are so many stories that go on in our head, even though we know that what's in our head isn't real. It's just our perception. It's what we attach to. And sometimes those stories become so big and so classic, like an epic movie, that we believe them. Now, it's not paranoia. It's more the fact that we just buy into the story and we keep going back to it over and over again. Now, some of the most common stories are things like, I can't, it's too hard, no one's going to want me, I'm going to fail. So we hear that story over and over again. And, most of the times those stories are created in childhood and we've carried them with us all along. I wanted to talk about some of the different stories that we do have in our head. One of the most common ones is the impossible story. The story that, tells us that whatever we want to do is impossible. So think about things like I want to gain weight or lose weight, or I want to get healthy, or I want to save money to buy a house, or I want to get a better job or a better career or a better education. All these things are actually possible to everyone, but the impossible story tells us that we can't. And so that story then stops us from doing what we need to do to take those steps, and we never do it. And it's funny when I speak to a lot of my clients, and even when I reflect to my own life, I think to myself, oh my God, I could have done so many different things if I just took the action. One of the things was I wanted to go back to uni and do a master's or something, and I kept saying, oh, it's too hard, it's too long, it's too complicated. But I could have done two in that time. So sometimes those impossible stories keep us from actually moving to a place that we want to move to. The next story type is the blame story, and that is that we blame other people for any problems, issues, experiences, dramas in our life. So rather than actually taking the time out to look at ourselves and go, what's going on for me? We just blame other people. And there's, a lot of times that those stories push us to blame our parents, blame our partners, blame our boss, blame our work colleagues. And it ends up being that we're the victim all the time. Like, if you feel as if a lot of things are happening to you and you are telling the story to other people, like this person did this or this person did that, just take a moment to think about what that's telling you. Why is all this stuff happening to you? Sometimes we need to stop and reflect and look at what we're doing if it's repetitive. And in most cases, it's the story. And when we become aware of the story, we have a chance to then change it. Other types of stories are non-accountable stories, and they're stories that say to you in your mind that you've got the right to do or feel what you're doing. So, sometimes people may experience, different beliefs or opinions to other people. So they believe that what they're saying is true. If you look at politics or religion, or even when people talk about money and their careers, or even where we talk about social economic areas in our cities, or people's behaviors like drug use or addictions, we have this part of us that thinks that what we're saying is right, and that is a story. We don't actually take the time out to think about what the other person may be experiencing, or to think that our story may not be as accurate as we think. So let's just try and encourage ourselves to maybe stop and just think about our stories. I want you to remember that everything in our head is made up. Okay, it's not real. It's just a perception. So we normally have a feeling or a thought that comes up, and then that creates the behavior. So, if you think about two people and they're experiencing exactly the same thing, they may actually have a totally different outlook on their day because of their stories. One person may wake up and feel grumpy, and so the whole day's grumpy, while the other person might feel, quite happy and have a great day. Now, nothing in their lives has been different. It's just the story in their head. Are they recalling old memories that they're making a story? Are they blaming? Are they holding on to unrealistic, messages that they're telling themselves? So maybe just take some time out to list some of the things that you believe are your story, and just take a time out to reframe the story and change it. Once you change it, it becomes a different way of seeing it. Remember, even the change story isn't real, but it's much more healthier to think of a positive way of seeing things rather than the heavy, I can't, which makes people sometimes get anxious and stops them from taking risks. All right, till next time, guys, have a great week. Bye.